Plagued by a violent and recurring nightmare, a college student heads home to track down the one person who might be able to break the cycle of death and save her family from the grisly demise that inevitably awaits them all. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Burns Reviews. My name is John. Today we're talking about the 6th chapter in the Final Destination franchise, Final Destination Bloodlines. But before we begin, if you could, be sure to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe. Really does help out a lot. Okay, so let's get into it. I went into this movie not with very high expectations. It is a requel sequel, it has a new creative team, and whenever I see that, I'm very skeptical because usually it's a cash grab. It's usually not very good, but believe me when I say, this movie actually blew my hair back. I saw it, I was lucky enough to go see it at a press screening. It was on the biggest stadium IMAX that they possibly have, and the opening satellite scene, that is like the premonition scene, is hands down one of the greatest premonition scenes I've seen in all of the Final Destination movies. It goes on for a good 15 minutes. The kills are so well crafted and earned. There are characters that you are cheering not to get killed off. There are characters that you just revel when they do get killed off. One kid in particular who's just a little shit. You just can't wait to see him go, and I was blown away. There's also a scene at the very end, the last few minutes of this movie. Again, giant spectacle, great on a big screen. I saw it in a packed house because they had press and they had fans, you know, for an early showing. It really added to the atmosphere of it all. So spectacle-wise, this movie is probably, yeah, short of like the highway scene in part 2, because the rest of that movie, there are scenes that kind of slow down. I said that this is probably the best Final Destination sequel that probably the best Final Destination sequel that I've seen. And I've seen them all. I remember during the pandemic, I watched all these movies. By the time I got to like the 4th and 5th one, I was starting to gloss over a little bit. But this one, surprisingly, has a lot of heart, a lot of thrills, a lot of gravitas. You know, we have this main character, I'm trying to think of her name. Her name is Caitlin Santabuana. Santabuana? I want a Fanta? That can't be right. She plays a character named Stephanie, and she keeps having these reoccurring dreams where, like, you know, she keeps dreaming about the satellite that happened 60 years ago. She doesn't know what the hell it's about, and she's flunking out of school. She's gonna lose her scholarship. She realizes, like, I have to get my stuff together or I'm gonna flunk out of college. So she figures out, alright, I need to track down this person who is connected to that event, so maybe I can figure out what's going on. And in doing so, she unlocks Pandora's box, and now she has to go and figure out how she's going to stop, you know, death from doing its thing that it always does in all these movies. So, when I watched this movie, I was pleasantly surprised how well the characters were. Caitlin Santabuana was fantastic as a lead. You know, typically, you know, I just saw that movie Clown in a Cornfield. And the characters were grating, they were annoying, they really just kind of stick in your side and take you out of the movie. Like, all the tropes about how annoying Gen Z people can be.
Why can't we just get in the running car?
They lived up to it. And I hate that because I know Gen Z people and they're not that way, not all of them. This movie is a little bit different because the Gen Z characters are very likable, which is incredibly refreshing. I did not expect that to be the case. Another standout to me was a character played by Richard Harmon. He plays Eric. He's the guy you see in the trailers in the tattoo parlor. He looks like he runs a Hot Topic, like he's a manager. And he was actually the heart and soul of this movie, at least to me. I resonated with him. He's like the asshole character with a heart of gold, which I haven't seen in a movie in a long time. Usually if a character is like a straight white guy, he's just an asshole, and they really lean into how stupid, incompetent, or evil he is. But they brought it back. It's like, alright, we got a character who's like, on the surface level, he's a jerk, but when it comes down to it, he really does care. And I kind of could say that about most of the characters of this movie. I'd say there's like one annoying character who's kind of reminiscent of the character who gets hit by the bus in the first movie.
Then you can just drop dead.
She's just annoying, she's written that way, it's not a failing from the directors. But all of the characters felt like they were genuinely part of a decent family, and despite all of their hang-ups and problems and their regrets, they really seem like a real family, and they seem like a decent family. I think the best comparison I can make to it is Terrifier 2 or 3, where you actually do care about the Shaw family, And the same can be said here. You actually do care. So when these characters do get killed off in the most gnarly, over-the-top ways, you actually genuinely feel kind of bad. There's one guy, he's got a turtle, and he finds out what's going on with this whole situation, and he's like, listen, if I do bite the bullet and I don't make it out of here, can you take care of Paco for me? And like, it sounds stupid, but when you watch the movie, I was pulled in. I'm like, take care of Paco. So with that said, the third act also fantastic. It's like a whole just, boom, 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 giant spectacle. You have things blowing up, everything you would expect out of a Final Destination movie. They spared no expense. I was really blown away. I did not expect this to be the movie it was. Originally, it was going to be directed by the guy who did, or somebody who was behind Scream 5 and 6. I think it was like Guy Busick or something like that. And I didn't love those movies. And eventually they found, he became an executive producer. They found other directors. A little fun fact is that when they did a submission to direct the movie, they actually found in the submission they put like a fake death in it while they were auditioning to direct it, and that won it over with the studio, and they were like, you know what, these guys are great. And they are. I'd love to see more from what they have to do. This movie, I could see them coming back for a sequel, but one of the most refreshing things about this movie that I found out was like, there was no sequel bait. This was not like a movie that was put together and like, hey, we're gonna tell you some story, but largely by the end of it, we're gonna bait you and say like, hey, you need to keep doing, come back for more because the story's incomplete. This is a solid horror movie classic that actually happened to come out in the modern day, which was very impressive. And finally, I'm gonna talk about it. The great late Tony Todd, who plays, I don't want to say Death. They go into his whole backstory. He's been in it since like the first movie. He kind of gets sprinkled in throughout the sequels. This was his final movie, and it was so heartwarming when I watched the scene and I researched it, because I found out that they actually, it's kind of like a Chadwick Boseman situation. He knew he was going to pass on. And so in knowing that, and because his whole legacy is kind of tied back to him in so many different ways, they really just gave him a nice monologue where not only did they finally explain what his story is, how he connects to the whole franchise, what his deeper meaning is as a character and why he connects and why he... Not only did they explain the questions that we've been waiting to hear, but they did it in such a heartfelt kind of way. It kind of made me think of like Top Gun Maverick when they brought back Val Kilmer. It's just like, it so worked, man. Like when he came on the screen, the people in the audience were fucking clapping. They were just like, Tony Todd! And, it's just, I don't know, man. I got a little choked up seeing him on the screen. It was such a nice tribute. So when you add up that, a well-crafted story, the way they ended it, and my god, the way they end it, if you've seen any Final Destination movie, it's not going to end necessarily with a happy ending. It's going to be explosive, it's going to go over the top, and this one, no exception. They really went all out. I'd say the final kill, or the final moments of this movie, right before they fade to black, is nearly as impressive as the opening premonition scene. So I know, there might be a little bit of recency bias, because I just saw it and I got all jazzed up about it, but I'm gonna give this a solid 4 out of 5. I was very impressed. Go see it on the biggest screen possible because that satellite scene is amazing. I saw it with a packed house, like I said, with audience and press. The audience really kind of elevated everything. People were laughing. There was a lot of, oh, kind of scream outs. The kills in this movie are never quote unquote scary. It's always just like kind of like over the top dark humor, twist of fate kind of thing that kind of gets you all, like a roller coaster. So I would highly recommend this movie. It comes out this Friday. See it with people, see it on the biggest screen possible, because that's what I did, and I had a fantastic job. Probably one of the best horror movies I've seen in 2025. Granted, there hasn't been a lot of competition, but this movie made me feel like we're finally back at the movies in 2025. Later today, I'm going to be seeing a press screening for Bring Her Back, which is the new film from the brothers that brought us Talk to Me. Can't wait to talk about that. So later tonight, around 10 p.m. or so, the social embargo is already done. It's already dropped. So around 10 o'clock when I get the movie, I'll be having my 1 minute quick reaction straight at the theater. And then tomorrow or whenever the embargo goes up, I will have the full review. We also got some other videos coming out soon. Be sure to hit subscribe and give the video a thumbs up if you could, if you like this video. And I will see you next time.
I'll see you soon.